We have a bad habit of judging actors by the characters they play. If someone plays a dumb blonde or a clueless buffoon for 10 years, we subconsciously assume they aren't the sharpest tool in the shed. But in Hollywood, acting is just a job, and for some of these stars, their backup plan was literal rocket science. These are the celebrities who are secretly way smarter than the characters they play. You can't talk about this topic without starting with Nolan Gould. For 11 seasons on Modern Family, he played Luke Dunphy, the adorable but incredibly dim-witted son who often got his head stuck in the banister. But in real life, Nolan is a certified genius. He has an IQ of 150 and is a member of Mensa. While his character was struggling with basic math, the real Nolan graduated high school at just 13 years old. He spent his breaks on set reading books on sociology and anthropology while pretending to be a kid who couldn't tie his own shoes. We see a similar contrast with Ashton. He became famous playing Michael Kelso on That 70s Show, the definition of a handsome idiot who coasted on his looks. But in reality, Ashton was a biochemical engineering major at the University of Iowa. He originally went to college to find a cure for his twin brother's heart condition. He eventually dropped out to pursue modeling, but he didn't leave his brain behind. He is now one of the most successful tech investors in Silicon Valley, having made early bets on Uber, Airbnb, and Spotify that turned him into a business mogul. Then there is Lisa Kudrow. She became a global icon playing Phoebe Buffet on Friends. Phoebe was the quirky, street-smart hippie who thought her grandfather was Einstein. But Lisa Kudrow actually comes from a family of intellectuals. She earned a Bachelor of Science degree in biology from Vassar College. Before she made it big in acting, she worked with her father, a headache specialist, for 8 years. She is even credited on a scientific research paper about the comparative likelihood of left-handed individuals developing cluster headaches. Phoebe might have believed in aromatherapy, but Lisa believes in hard data. Sometimes, the pop star persona is the biggest disguise of all. Keisha built her entire career on the image of a party girl who brushed her teeth with a bottle of Jack, but that was a carefully crafted character. In reality, she is incredibly academic. She scored a 1500 on her SATs, which is near perfect and possesses an IQ of 140. She was actually set to attend Barnard College at Columbia University to study psychology before she decided to drop out and pursue music. Sometimes, playing dumb takes a massive amount of intelligence. Rowan Atkinson is famous around the world as Mr. Bean, a character who barely speaks and acts like a destructive toddler. But the man behind the teddy bear holds a master's degree in electrical engineering from Oxford University. He was actually on track to be a serious engineer before comedy took over. It takes a brilliant mind to construct the physical comedy routines of Mr. Bean, proving that you have to be smart to play that stupid. And we have to talk about Ken Jeong. We know him as the unhinged gangster Mr. Chow from The Hangover or the crazy Senor Chang from Community. He usually plays characters who are completely out of their minds. But before he was jumping out of trunks naked, he was Dr. Ken Jeong. He earned his MD from the University of North Carolina and completed his residency in New Orleans. He was a fully licensed, practicing physician who did stand-up comedy on the side. He famously treated a woman who had a seizure in the audience during one of his comedy sets. Conan O'Brien is another comedian whose goofiness hides a serious intellect. Before he was the late-night host with the funny hair, he was a Harvard graduate. He graduated magna cum laude with a degree in history and literature. He was also the president of the Harvard Lampoon, the prestigious humor magazine, a role that is usually reserved for the smartest comedy writer in the school. Sometimes, the casting directors actually get it right. Mayim Bialik played Amy Farrah Fowler on The Big Bang Theory, a brilliant neurobiologist. But unlike the rest of the cast who had to memorize scientific jargon they didn't understand, Mayim actually knew what she was talking about. She holds a legitimate PhD in neuroscience from UCLA. Her thesis was on hypothalamic regulation in patients with Prader-Willi syndrome. She is the only actor on the show who could actually solve the equations written on the whiteboards in the background. If you judge a book by its muscles, you'd probably underestimate Dolph Lundgren. In Rocky IV, he played Ivan Drago, the Soviet machine who only had a few lines, mostly "I must break you." In real life, Dolph is intimidatingly smart. He has a master's degree in chemical engineering from the University of Sydney and was awarded a prestigious Fulbright scholarship to MIT. He was literally on his way to Boston to become a chemical engineer when he met Grace Jones, who convinced him to try acting. Gerard Butler is another tough guy with a surprising resume. Before he was kicking people into pits in 300, he was studying law. He attended the University of Glasgow and was the president of the Law Society there. He even landed a job as a trainee solicitor at a top firm in Edinburgh. However, he was fired just 1 week before he became a qualified lawyer because he partied too much and missed work. He decided to move to London to become an actor instead. Then there is Kate Beckinsale. She is known for wearing leather catsuits and fighting werewolves in the underworld movies, but she is arguably one of the most well-read people in Hollywood. She studied French and Russian literature at Oxford University. She is fluent in 4 languages and has won awards for her fiction writing and poetry. We also have the legends, who are experts in fields that have nothing to do with fame. Brian May is the guitarist for Queen, responsible for some of the greatest rock riffs in history. But while he was touring the world, he was quietly working on his PhD. He is a legitimate astrophysicist. He had to put his studies on hold for 30 years while Queen became the biggest band on Earth. But he went back and finished his thesis in 2007. He even collaborated with NASA on the New Horizons Pluto mission. Shaquille O'Neal is known for shattering backboards and his goofy personality on TV, but he takes his education very seriously. He promised his mother he would finish school, so he did. But he didn't stop at a bachelor's. He earned an MBA, and then, in 2012, he earned a doctorate in education from Barry University. That means technically, he is Dr. O'Neal. Cindy Crawford was the ultimate supermodel of the 90s, gracing every magazine cover in the world. But before the modeling scouts found her, she was the valedictorian of her high school class. She actually earned an academic scholarship to study chemical engineering at Northwestern University. She attended for 1 quarter before dropping out to pursue modeling full-time, realizing she could make a lot more money posing for cameras than mixing chemicals. But the most impressive secret genius of all might be Hedy Lamarr. She was a glamorous movie star in the 1940s, known as the most beautiful woman in the world. But by night, she was an inventor. During World War II, she co-invented a technology called frequency hopping spread spectrum to help Allied torpedoes avoid being jammed by the Nazis. The US Navy ignored her invention at the time, but that exact technology is what laid the foundation for modern Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth. So every time you connect to the internet, you have a 1940s movie star to thank. Finally, there is Natalie Portman. She has been a movie star since she was a child, but she famously took a break from Hollywood to attend Harvard University. She graduated with a degree in psychology and even co-authored a study on frontal lobe activation during object permanence. She famously said, "I'd rather be smart than a movie star," and she managed to become both. From the doctor who played Mr. Chow to the engineer who played Mr. Bean, these stars prove that you should never judge someone by their IMDb page. It turns out, Hollywood is full of secret geniuses. Which of these surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of your favorite celebrities.